The Pies take on the undefeated Lions in probably one of the games of the round, definitely one of the games of the season so far. Let's get into it. Before we do get into it, I want to say thanks to Swish for supporting and sponsoring this channel. If you don't know Swish, you can call up on one of your favorite AFL players or favorite Collingwood players. I'm talking Josh Dacos, Nick, Pendles, Chris, Darcy Cameron. The list goes on, and they can leave a message to a friend, to a foe, to mum for Mother's Day, for someone engagement, for your brother, for your sister, for anyone. A personalized video message, absolutely incredible. Use code SWOOPLUKE for 10% off, or use the link down below. It takes you directly to the page, 10% off. You'd be supporting Swish, you'd be supporting the channel. Again, Swish, thank you so much. Now, let's get into this preview. Fresh off of Gather Round and straight into an Easter Thursday clash. And this game is huge for a lot of reasons. Like I said right at the start of the video, Brisbane haven't lost a match so far. We obviously have won our last 4 matches. We're 4-1 at the moment. But think about this time last year. Collingwood fresh off a premiership. We went 0-3. Brisbane had lost 0-3 as well. And it was an Easter Thursday game up at the Gabba where we haven't won in a very long time. And both teams were winless to start the season. Both grand finalists winless to start the season. We beat them. Brisbane goes 0-4, ultimately go on and win the premiership. It's a bit of a change from last season to this season. A huge difference in 12 months. So this game, I think, has a lot on the line for it, but also I think it's ultimately a free hit for Collingwood. And why I say that is Brisbane are clearly, I was going to say clearly the best team in the league. They're not, maybe not the best team at the moment. And we'll talk a little bit about that in a second about why I think they're not. But a free hit because they are the most, one of the most informed teams. They're first on the ladder. They're, what are they, 5-0 or something? Yeah, they're 5-0. They're 5-0. They've beaten some good sides. They've come back. So they're 4 of their 5 games, they've been down. They've had a deficit of 25 plus points in some of those games, and that's including Richmond. That's including West Coast. In the third quarter, they were down, 39 points to Western Bulldogs, and then they come back and win by 20-something points. So, and Geelong, they were down as well. So there are chinks in their armor, but ultimately, if you can come from a deficit, 4 or 5 goal deficit and win by a few goals, that's a big turnaround, reminiscent of us in 2022, reminiscent of us in 2023 as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this plays out. But I say it's a free hit because they are a good side. They are a good side. We go to the Gabba, go to their fortress, and there's going to be a bit of changes that we're going to see, I feel, in my gut, with like player positioning and stuff like that. Now, our game against Sydney in Gather Round was absolutely incredible. Probably another 4-quarter performance. So that's 2 for the season so far. The Port Adelaide game where we beat them by 91 points, and now the Sydney game where we beat them by 31 points. Now, the Sydney game, it all comes down to our defense, right? And I've got some stats here where against our opponents, so our opponents, we're number 1 against intercept to score. We're number 2 in clearance to score against opponents, and we're number 3 in score per inside 50. So we're keeping our opponents to pretty much nothing. So that big one there, clearance to score for opponents, we're number 2. Sydney didn't score from a clearance at all last week, or in Gather Round at all, and we scored 3 or 4 goals, right? Intercepts to score. So when the teams are intercepting balls, when we're intercepting, the teams, they're not scoring. So our defensive unit, again, is reminiscent of what we were like in 2023. And yes, that's on the back of Darcy Moore being the number 1 rated defender, a key defender in the league right now. But it's also on the back of what Billy Frampton has been able to do. Now, I was a big fan of Reef over Frampton. Again, of course, Reef does his ACL. He's going to be out for 12 months. Frampton comes in. Now, I think Frampton works best, Big Bad Billy works best when he just has see ball, punch ball. That's his only That's his only shtick. That's his one wood when he's playing in the defense. It's not intercept. It's not, run out. It's not create. It's C ball, punch ball, mark ball. It's really simple stuff. And when he has to focus just on that, anything can happen, right? Last year, I feel like, when we lost Nathan Murphy and we're trying to go with Charlie Dean or Billy Frampton at stages, and Darcy Moore was trying to play two roles, and Jeremy Howe, it just was a little convoluted, and people were trying to do more than they could, and that's why we were falling down. That's why we had a shitty defense last year, a shitty premiership defense as well. But now I think Billy Frampton is doing the best job. I think he's ranked 3 in key defenders in the AFL at the moment. Again, he's only played 2 games as opposed to, Wiedering and Moore and all these other guys that have played 4 or 5 games. So 2 games, spacing off 2 games, but those 2 games have been great. Kept Charlie Curnow to 1 goal and, did as much as he could against a Sydney attack last week as well. But I thought he did really, really well, especially, when he was on Laidlam, McLean and all these players that rotating a little bit. It helped that Amadi went off as well. So that definitely helped us. But that defense, Howe, Moore, Billy Frampton, they're going to have their work cut out for him. Hipwood scored 5 goals in the second half. Logan Morris scored 4 goals. They have got an absolutely potent attack, Brisbane Lions. And these guys... And, it's not just the defense, it's working up the ground as well. We know Darcy Cameron pushes back and he becomes that sort of 7th marking defender. So that's going to help us with the height that Brisbane have down there. But it's about how we pressure up forward, our middles, our midfield as well. We can't let them be breaking on that counter attack and just repeat inside 50, because that's where we start to break down. I'll talk about it until the sun comes down or the cows come home. But that first game against the Giants was an anomaly. We were pressuring incorrectly. We were tackling incorrectly. It was just a bad sort of game plan. But we've corrected that in the last few weeks, and I think the Sydney game epitomised that. We saw the defenders holding back a little bit, the midfielders holding back a little bit, and it was perceived pressure. It wasn't just everyone sort of charging and then the Sydney are getting the ball over the top. It was standing back, perceived pressure, plugging the holes. Sydney didn't know where to go. Then they turn it over and then we intercept and then we counter attack. And I think we have to sort of repeat that against Brisbane, because Brisbane, they do have really, really good players, especially coming off that half back line, especially in that midfield. McCluggage, he's leading the AFL Coaches Association players votes at the moment. He's had a really good start to the season. Zorko has had a really good start to the season. So you got to close down these guys if you are a chance to win. But in saying that, they've got to close down our guys if they're a chance to win. It's not just about can we beat Brisbane, it's can Brisbane beat Collingwood. And with the emergence of Ned Long, Nick Dacos now can absolutely break a tag with James Jordan, one of the best taggers in the league. Broke it, 34 disposals, bunch of clearances, bunch of tackles, just outran him, right? Expect more of the same. Craig McRae says Ned Long doesn't come out of the side. I have no reason not to believe him. He's definitely going to stay in the side. Now, the big question for me is Jordan De Goey is available. Is he fit to play and fit to perform, or is he just fit to play and not fit to perform? Remember, that was a big thing last year where Craig McRae said, we have players that were fit to play, but they weren't fit to perform. And that's where we see bodies breaking down. That's where, and it was because of all of our injuries and stuff like that, where we forced De Goey to play when he wasn't ready to perform. He was fit, but not ready to perform at his best. So it'll be interesting to see if they do give him the green light, it means that he is fit to perform. So you would expect 100% Jordan De Goey. What I want to see though, there's sort of 2 options there. Does De Goey impact as a super sub, right? Or is with his body sort of breaking down and the guy's like 1 week in, 3 weeks out at the moment, and it's starting to upset me, pissing me off as well. But do we see Jordan De Goey go back to basics and he's done in the midfield, right? And he's just a pure forward. Kind of reminiscent of what Dangerfield is doing at the moment. Sure, Dangerfield goes into the middle a little bit. We might see Jordan De Goey in the middle a little bit as well when we need that burst of a big sort of body. And I wouldn't be opposed to that. But can we rejig the forward line so Jordan De Goey is the 2018, 2019-ish Jordan De Goey, where he is just absolutely mauling the forward line. Against the Bulldogs, he kicked 3 behinds. Against Carlton, he kicks 2 important goals. So they're testing him a little bit more in the forward line. And I kind of Really want to see it, especially with Lockie Schultz out for probably another week. We don't know if he plays Anzac Day or not. Could Degoe be a spark in that forward line? I'm not saying the forward line needs a spark because the Triple M's are working so well, and the Brisbane defenders are going to have their work cut out for them. But imagine a forward line with the three the Triple M's, Degoe, Bo McCreary, and Jamie Elliott, and then whoever else is sort of running through there. And maybe that changes when Lockie Schultz comes back in, but Degoe, if he can't keep that running up because now it's an ankle, it's a calf, it's a groin and stuff. Don't let him run all the time. Give him 100% or maybe 80, 70% time in the forward line and let him dominate a forward line. Give us another option up there. I think that would cause absolute headaches. So it's definitely something to think about. And then, running through the forward line a little bit, the midfield a little bit. But I would love for him just to be sort of a pure forward. And if someone needs to be in the midfield, put Jamie Elliott through. We've seen Jamie Elliott run in the midfield over the last couple of years and do it well just for stints. But I would love to see Jordan Degoe in the forward line. Now, big calls and predictions. So I do think we win this game. I said, what did I say against Sydney? I said it was like 8 points or something. I ended up winning by 31 points. Easter Thursday, all eyes on us. Brisbane are coming off a five-day break. They're also coming off a pretty hard game. It was like 30-something degrees. They were 39 points down. They had to work, and then they get the 5-day break. Collingwood, we played on Friday. So we get a 6-day break. On Saturday, they flew up to Brisbane, so they were relaxing in Brisbane. So we've got a bit of a head start against them. We've won the last 3 against the Lions, one at the Gabba as well. I think if we win, this is going to be where people say, okay, Collingwood are flag contenders. And I think if we lose in a way where we are trying really hard and it's not just a big blowout, where the people are still thinking that, I think we win by 17 points. I think the Pies come out, win by 17 points. My big call, I want to say Degoe for 3 goals. But I think we're going to see McStay kick 4. I'm feeling McStay kicks 4 goals. So it'll be one of our forwards kicking a bag. I'd love it to be Jordan Degoe kicking a bag, but I think McStay is due for a big game going up against his former side as well. But they are my big calls, my predictions, and my match preview. Let me know your thoughts down below. Until then, buy the merch. It's still available. Great way to support the channel. Like, comment, subscribe. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell your pets. And until next time, double shackers. I'll swoop you later.